Dear Father in heaven, Lord, I just pray that you are with us today, that you would be with our guest today and would allow us to speak truth, Lord, that we would grow closer to you, and that there are people out there listening right now that will be able to grow in the relationship with you, Jesus. This is what we're asking for. And Father, just thank you for this time, and thank you for these men. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 All right, guys, welcome back to Tribe Talk. We're on to our third installment. I believe it's our third installment. Yes, Michael?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to relaunch the archetypes, and today we are talking about what it's like to be an explorer. I am here, as always, with my beautiful bald partner in crime, Mike Sanders. Say hi, Mike.
Hello, boys.
And welcome back to the next episode of Tribe Talk. Mike, we have a great guest again.
Yes, we do, although he's not quite as attractive with his hair.
That's
style.
true.
You know, he should be bald. But
That's true. He's not follically challenged like the two of us. That's okay. We're not going to hold it against him. He does have a sweet beard. So
That is true. So he's got that going.
yeah, it's not a requirement here in the Gento tribe, but it helps, I think.
It totally helps.
It does.
Yes, it makes you better. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. All right. Well, let me introduce our friends. So, first of all, our next guest. Let's start with his family. He is he's a native of Niceville, Florida, born and raised here, and he married his wife Leanne. How long have you been married to Leanne?
Almost 24 years.
Okay, awesome. Wow, 24 years. That's great.
Yeah, it's been
Congratulations.
wonderful. Thanks.
They have 4 amazing kids. Their oldest, Evelyn.
Yep.
Then they have another daughter named Gwen. Their one and only son, Lane, and finally their youngest, Brooklyn. This gentleman works in the mortgage business, so he helps people buy homes. He helps people, purchase their dream homes, which is pretty cool. And this company he works for is a Christian-based company, so he does try and bring that into his area of responsibility, which one of them is his workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend, Steve Schutt.
What's up, guys?
Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me.
This is exciting. We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. I almost shaved my head.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can do it right now if you want
I
to.
know. I've got clippers downstairs.
Maybe afterwards.
Okay.
I sure wish you would have. Leanne's really sorry that you came here today.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Good stuff.
She'd get over it.
That's right.
She does love you. That's for sure. Well, buddy, we're here to talk about what it's like to be an explorer. And Mike, do you want to introduce the topic?
Sure.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So this idea of being an explorer is one of the 7 archetypes that we talk about in the book, and we also talk about a lot in our ministry. My argument that I make is that we are all explorers. That there's something inside of us that is wanting to get out into the wilderness and not only be in the wilderness to find quiet and to get away from things. And I believe that's a process that we can actually do to hear God's voice and to get closer to Him, but then also to get pushed. Men need to be pushed. We need to get outside of our comfort zones. And sometimes getting outdoors is a place to do that. So whether that's, hiking, rock climbing, paddleboarding, surfing, whatever it is, there's this part of us that I believe that needs to get out into the wilderness and just soak it in.
I'd buy that. Steve, what do you think? Is that pretty accurate for your life?
Yes, 100%. It's when I went through this study the first time, you were leading our group, Jim, and we talked about in our group about doesn't matter when you go on a hike or you're paddleboarding or whatever you're doing, you never quite get far enough, right? Like you keep going because
good.
you want to see what's around the next bend.
Yep.
You want to see what's over the next hill. You want to see just what's up ahead. And why is that? And I think it's because this is wired in all of us to get out, to explore, to challenge ourselves, to see what's ahead. So yeah, no, it was just one of those moments where it was like, that's why I think that way.
Yeah, that's right.
We all do.
Were you always that way?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a little boy, every stick was a gun, right? Every stick was a sword, and you're just, out running around, built, I don't know how many different forts, and
Yeah, and every tree was a monster that had to be brought down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or a fortress to be climbed.
Or it's, whatever it is, man.
Yeah, I'm surprised we made it.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, it's amazing that we all survived.
Yeah.
But we did.
Well, there's a reason why the average lifespan of a male is shorter than a female.
That's right.
Right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did see I don't know, it was a meme, a video. I don't know what the kids are calling it these days, but it was a comic talking about how when we were little, there was always a kid in your class that had a cast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, did you guys
I
see
saw
this?
that recently, too.
Yeah. Is that really true? Kids aren't getting hurt these days because they're stuck inside?
I mean, he said something about walking into third grade for the first day and it looking like the VA clinic or something with kids and slings and everything else. And now, I mean, it's odd to see a kid in a cast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about it, like just walking through youth ministry or whatnot. Like there's nobody casted up.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what's funny, my daughter actually did hurt herself in high school, sprained her ankle before a competition. She was a competitive dancer, and they tried to give her one of those wheelie scooters, one of those knee scooters.
Oh, yeah.
She wouldn't use it because she didn't want people to notice her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember when I was a kid, I was like jealous I didn't have a cast
Yeah,
because
right.
people
You
signed
wanted-
it. It was like a social thing.
Absolutely.
man.
Well, Lane, when it snowed, I was wrestling with Lane. You guys know this, I think. And I took him down and he hurt his knee. And Leanne was like devastated.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. He'll
Yeah.
bounce. He'll
Yeah.
bounce back. This is just part of guys being guys. Of course, I didn't want to hurt my son.
No, but it's so important to be able to do those things with your son.
yeah, absolutely. And he was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
That's what he said anyway.
He was having a blast until he wasn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was snowing in Florida.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wrestle in the snow.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely true. True statement.
Well, I remember too. I think your initial reaction, you were kind of upset too because
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because
you don't
you
want to take you don't want to take something away from your kid. Athletes, have to, miss a couple of months of sports or whatnot.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't a great thing. I don't wish that on him, but it's just we don't see kids getting hurt from playing. Now maybe sports or whatever, but just horsing around, climbing trees they shouldn't
true.
be. It just doesn't really happen anymore.
yeah. A lot of psychologists say that roughhousing is so important for the development of a kid too.
Really.
And I mean, you tell me how pumped was he to wrestle with his dad in the snow that day?
Oh yeah, we went outside against mom's better wishes because it was, we weren't sure how long it was going to be on the ground, and yeah, he was excited. It was fun. We were, kind of playing football or whatever, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, my dad throwing me up in the air. My brother and I were just talking about this the other day, how he would throw me up in the air and then catch me, and my brother hated it, and I just kept asking for more. I want to do that again. I want to do that again. So there's just something about it that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now we follow our kids around and go, "Be careful."
Yep.
Hello, be careful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
We should probably stop doing that.
I agree. And so for me, I think there's time. I know for a fact, I was growing up or watching my kids grow up, where you're seeing them do something and they're pushing it, man. Like, oh boy, and you're trying to make a decision. Okay, if they fall, how bad will it be? Should I say something or should I let it happen? Because they do need to feel that. They need to get hurt and then realize, oh, I lived and I can go back and do it again. So anyway, I think there's a balance there.
Well, when we were kids, we were the ones doing it. There was zero risk analysis. It was, I got this. I will always survive.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? Nothing.
My son does that now to
Oh,
this
yeah.
day. You should see the videos he shows me. And I'm like,
yeah.
you're lucky to be alive, dude. He's like, fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
That's awesome.
And the problem is he's got a bunch of his little minions, other little buddies that have zero risk analysis too. So it just exponentially magnifies the level of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Risk analysis, I feel like that's an Air Force term.
It definitely is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm old now, so I can
Yeah, that's
use
right.
it. But when
That's
when
right.
I was a teenager, I had none, and I was having the time of my life. And I'm here to tell you, we may think that that's dead or whatever. Like kids aren't doing that, but there's evidence in my son's life that it's not. They
Yeah.
crave it still.
Well, I was going to say, when he shows you those videos, even though you're like, ooh, aren't you still also kind of like, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'm 100% proud. His mom, not so much.
not so much. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I get upset when I'm not there to be the one that bails him out, and he does that stuff, because I think what he doesn't think of is the tyranny of distance between the activity and the hospital. Right. That's the only problem I have with any of his decision making.
Sure.
And maybe it's because I'm old and I'm a wuss now, and I know how much stuff costs. But
Yeah.
Very true.
when I was their age, I was just like them, and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of great memories from that kind of stuff.
For sure.
And you build up the confidence of knowing that maybe you're not indestructible, but you can survive a lot more than what you think.
Heck yes. That is absolutely true.
Get the juices flowing.
Yep.
Well, it's a training ground for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for life. What was some of the stuff you were into as a kid?
Well, I was big into sports. Lots of baseball, lots of soccer, but really pretty much outside of those two team sports, anything that you could do in the driveway. So basketball, a lot of basketball with the neighborhood kids, a lot of touch football or whatnot. We were never allowed to play tackle because I was always one of the bigger kids and nobody wanted to play tackle with me. So we always had to play touch. We actually played like tennis and stuff like that. But no, when I was little, the home that my mom still lives in to this day, she was one of the first homes in Blue Water Bay. And so there was woods everywhere.
Yeah.
And we just built forts and
It's awesome.
screwed 2x4s into trees and climbed as high as we could climb. And yeah, just out exploring.
So good.
I got to give our kids a break. That we complain about them being plugged in all the time. But let's be honest, so are we as adults. Like, that's just life now is connected. Is there ever been a time in your family where you mandatory get away from that crap and go outside and get to spend time as a family together in nature? Do you guys do that still?
Yeah, actually, we try to be intentional about it just because, as you guys know, the neighborhood I live in, we've got family and friends, and it's a wonderful thing. But in order for us to have our time, we've got to get away. Excuse me. And so we found a place over past Milton. It's called Coldwater Gardens. So a little plug for Coldwater Gardens. It's fantastic. It's glamping. They've got cabins or whatever, but no real cell phone connection. It's camping without having to do all the hard work of camping.
Is that just you and Leanne, or you and Leanne and the kids, or both?
All of the above. In fact, I went out there in December by myself just to get away for a couple of days.
That's right.
Well, you didn't tell us. What? I don't understand.
I told him I was coming, but he wouldn't let me come. It's really bothered me.
I'm sorry, guys. It'd be a great place to get together, though, just to have like a guys' weekend. But I don't know. It's not really rough in it, though. It's pretty comfortable. It's a good place to take your wife, take your kids.
You went? How long did you go out there for? A couple nights?
Yeah, I was out there for 2 nights.
Yeah.
And it was specifically, I did it it was a Monday night and a Tuesday night. And obviously that's a big weekend type place. I was the only one there.
Wow.
Only one there. And it was kind of creepy because you're not allowed to have firearms or anything. And so I was a little bit, I was like, what was that? What was that?
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. But so we've done that, probably a half dozen times as a family. We love to go out on the boat, which is the same kind of thing. Like, we can get isolated, just us, and go do whatever for 4 or 5 hours and just get outside and get away from the world.
That's so great. I want to double back to your time alone.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What did you get out of that experience? What'd you do, and what'd you get out of it?
And why'd you go?
Well, I went because I needed to just do some planning, some business planning, some life planning, just to get away from the noise so that I felt like I could spend some time alone in prayer, reading God's word, reading a couple of other books, just to plan, just so I could clear my head. I specifically went for 2 nights, 3 days, because I felt like it was going to take at least that long for me to go ahead and just get through whatever was on my brain. Right. And so I did a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, and a lot of reading. And I went on a lot of different hikes, just kind of wandering around, taking it in, talking to God. I wrote in my journal, I'm going to do this at least every 2 months. And I have not. So I need to go back.
So it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And did you feel like you were connecting to God? Did you feel like you were connecting to yourself even more?
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Yes.
Good. So the journaling, how important was that during this process?
I've never really been a big journaler.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple times at the infill, just getting alone when we've had time. And that's why I wanted to do it, because I knew that if I could get stuff out of my brain. So it was really therapeutic, for a lack of better terms. I'm sure you guys are like me too, where you just have so much going on, and it's life and family and work and ministry and just all the things. And so being able just to get that out of my head on paper and be able to ask God what he thought about certain things and just be able to process through that and have the time to do it too.
Yeah.
Like nobody was expecting anything of me.
Yep.
Work, family, everybody knew I was gone. So I could just sit there and stare and write and read and pray, process
And listen.
and listen.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah. So the thing so we do talk about journaling, and I think it's important. And so I'll just say one really quick thing about it. It was when we journal, I think it's important because we're taking thoughts that are in my head and I'm actually being able to put them on a piece of paper. And if I'm praying and I'm working through it with the Holy Spirit, I put these thoughts down on a piece of paper, and now suddenly those thoughts are looking me back in the face, and now I'm absorbing them in a different way, and it just comes more concrete, I think. And I think journaling is a really important thing to do.
I think there's a lot of research that shows even if you never look at that again, it will take root faster if you write it down.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's that active process
of
getting your thoughts out on paper that is so long lasting.
Yeah, and I'll stop after this. I've got a journal that I leave by my bed that I go back and look at every once in a while. It's 15 years old, and I realize, first of all, I see notes that I was taking to myself when I was praying and laying things out on what I want to do with the book, right? And then that led to the ministry, and then that led to more. And then I go back to it still and go, man, I'm not doing that as well as I used to. And, I want that back. And so it's just important. And I've got a stack of those suckers, man. Over 15 years, I got a whole stack of them. So anyway.
To your point, Jim, I went through a weekend-long life planning type thing, probably 2014-15. My company sent some of us away on it, and it was really cool. We went through this whole process, thinking about what you want your obituary to say and working backwards, all that stuff. And foolishly, I never looked at it again. And 5-6 years later, I pulled it back up, and I opened it up and looked at it, and it was amazing how much of this stuff that I wanted to do had come to fruition just in that short period of time because I had taken the time to write it down and get it out of my head and kind of put my thoughts into place and not just let them swirl around up here.
I think a lot of times too, we don't know where to start. So we do have good ideas. They pop in your head. You just have no idea how to start it. And so a formal process like that will help you do that, like what your company put on. But your individual retreat or whatever you want to call it, God will give you a lot of messages on how to get started just because you put the noise down.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I need to make it a priority to do that again because it was so impactful that I kind of pledged to myself, and I haven't followed through with it, that at least every couple months I needed to do it.
Well, you just said it out loud to our tens of listeners, so you have lots of accountability now.
Perfect.
2 sitting here at this table.
Perfect.
So we'll certainly ask you about it, and maybe finagle an invite on the other side of camp.
Yeah.
When you go, that would be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know you were doing that. That's really cool.
It was good. It was a great couple of days.
From our feedback from the infills that we've done, for those who have never been to one, it's our ministry's semi-annual not retreat, because men don't retreat, we infill. The feedback we get from people universally is that the event where we send people off into the woods for a few hours to be alone and sit and be still and listen to God's voice, that's the one thing that they all tell us that we need to repeat, because it's something that we as men don't do well.
Yeah. So what is it about men that are scared of being quiet and doing such things? But I mean, because like you were talking about going on hikes, you're by yourself, you're out in the woods, you're being quiet. What is it about men that we just get scared about being quiet?
My personal opinion is that I think our to-do list is long. Yeah. And if we're quiet, if we're still, if we take time to get away, we are not being as productive as we need to be. Mm-hmm. At least that's what I struggle with. So trying to do that and just be okay with being quiet and not being quote unquote productive for a little while, I think it's just hard.
Yeah. But then that means we have to redefine what productivity is.
For sure.
Right. So you talk about being productive, and we see men, well, I got my to-do list. Let's get to the end of it, and let's get to the end of it. But we don't realize that being quiet and spending time with our God, who is engaged in our lives, is a great way for me to be productive. And it's filling. It's a way for me to grow closer to Him, to see what it is that He. And this is the thing that I think is important: is we have a God who wants to co-labor with us. He wants to work with us. He gave us life to change the culture, right? And so, why would He not want to get involved in that process? So I think productivity. Then we need to redefine what that looks like, and say, you know what? I need to take space to just be quiet for a little while. And do that and commit to it.
I have a practical metaphor if you'll let me share.
Let's do this.
Okay. I know. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but I'm a bit of a human performance guy. All right. So if I excuse all of the elite level marathon runners from my metaphor, this will make sense.
Okay, good.
All right. So, because I don't know, I'm going to speak for Saul. We're not a bunch of marathon runners sitting at this table, yes?
Oh, gosh.
Definitely not me.
Definitely not. So,
Not
if
me
we were
neither.
to go out and run a marathon today, just put our shoes on and go try and do that, and we ran as hard as we could until we collapsed, eventually you get to the point where you just can't go any further, and your performance dips so severely that you slow down dramatically. Would we agree that would happen?
Oh, yeah.
But there's this principle of intervals that will actually help you make time or make distance faster if you do something like run for 5 minutes and walk for 1.
Yep.
And it's that walk for 1 that will actually get your body to recuperate in that short period of time in order to, over the long haul, actually run faster.
Yep. Keep a higher pace.
Right. So our life is kind of like that. And I think the problem with guys is we don't understand that if I just take that downtime, the minutes that I'm running are so much more productive. I actually get my to-do list done faster.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And that's what you got to do when you went out to the woods by yourself.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I'm okay with taking a Sunday afternoon and sitting on the couch and watching the round 4 of the PGA Championship or whatever, just hanging out on my back deck. Like, I'm okay with that. But the reality is that my phone is still there. I'm still tied into checking things for work. I'm still looking at text messages. You guys have a bunch of people that rely on you for a lot of different things, and could be any number of things, but it's still like constant connectivity, texting, messaging, whatever it is. And so getting away like I did gives you the freedom to be able to just put all of that away. No cell service. I literally had to like walk about 200 yards to go get close to something that I could get a little bit of cell service. And so even when you think you're resting, you really are not a lot of times. And so it takes purposely getting away and getting into the woods in that case to get away from it all.
That's awesome, man.
Well, that's what Jesus did, right?
That's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a great point, Jim.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's a guy that absolutely changed the world, that in ways that, I mean, we can't even fathom how much he changed the world. But he did. He took time to just say, you know what, that's it. We're not going to do this anymore. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go away with these people, and we're with my disciples, and we're just going to get some rest. And by the way, in Junto, we talk about all the time that you need to prepare for your missions. You need to execute the mission well, and you need to rest, recover, and heal so that you can do the whole thing over again. And we just, anyway, I think it's great that you took the time, and I think it's a great learning point for many men listening to do the same thing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, and it's a good reminder that I need to follow through on what I kind of committed to myself to be able to do as well. So that's real good on rest. I don't know how that ties into exploration necessarily. It's kind of, some of it's tied together.
Well, I think it's you used the wilderness the way God intended it to be used. So we think, I think we can all relate that it's a proven ground. Like men like to go there because they like the adventure, they like the challenge. But it's also a place where He sent people for rest and recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an airplane that just flew over.
Yeah, there's dang jets, man.
I know. They should know we're doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, we'll call them. You're from the Air Force. Call somebody.
Yeah, I was.
And yet you're not, and it still goes on without you.
That's true. That's so
It's
strange.
amazing how that works, isn't it?
Where was I?
Yeah.
Well, so proving ground. And then, who else? Who else had to go to the wilderness? Your favorite hero?
Saul? Oh, Elijah.
Elijah, big time.
Yeah.
Jesus certainly did. I think after the Sermon on the Mount, the most famous sermon that he preached, didn't he immediately go to the wilderness for... I might be speaking out of turn.
I'm not sure if that was right after or not. I'd have to go. I can't remember exactly.
Where's Uncle Keith when you need him?
Where's Keith? We need that guy right now.
Yeah, but it is clear in Scripture, Jesus regularly left to be alone. And sometimes he took friends, but most of the time he just needed to be alone with his Father.
Yes, and that's so key, to be quiet, and to use that time to get ready to go back out and do your missions again. And I'll just point this out. So a couple years ago, around the COVID time frame, I just decided that I was not going to train or work out inside anymore, and I was going to go out in the weather. So I have as you guys know, the world famous shed in my backyard. Mm-hmm.
It's the magical but not magical at all shed.
That's exactly right, and it is there's no heat out there. There is light, but there's no heat. There's no air conditioning. And even, I don't even put a fan on in the summers. And I do that on purpose because I want to just, lack of a better way, I want to suffer a little bit. Right. So that's not necessarily a restful thing, but it is a chance for me to get outside and be out in the wilderness and feel the heat, feel what that looks like. And then in the winter, not that it gets that cold here, but to me, it's freezing, by the way. Just want to point that out.
You're Floridian now.
I am Floridian now.
Blood is thin, yeah.
That's right. But I even remember one time when I was in Denver, we were right in the middle of a snowstorm. And I just said to myself, I think I'm going to go outside. I'm going to put a pair of shorts on, and I'm going to put a hat on, and I'm going to go out without a shirt on, and I'm just going to jump rope for an hour out in the snowstorm. And I did that for a reason. I was doing it just because I wanted to push myself against the elements and just see if I could do it. And I did. I was fine.
Well, I should tell the people that don't know you, from one man to another.
Don't go there.
You're a very in shape guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go somewhere else. Okay, good. Oh, well, thank you. But
No.
But the thing is being in shape is just something that I started doing 25 years ago, and it just stuck with me, and now it's just part of my life. It's a habit, and I can't really break it. And when I do, I don't feel like myself.
Yeah. Well, that's the draw of being outside, right?
Absolutely.
Steve described how amazing it was to go be quiet, but you also mentioned that your favorite pastime with your family is to go out on the water.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
being outside for sure.
What do you guys get out of that?
There's just something. My favorite time is to be on the water as the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
so we'll a lot of times just get out in the boat and just putt around, Leanne and I, and we'll have coffee and we'll just putt out into the stillness and watch the world wake up. It's just there's something just rejuvenating and refreshing about that.
That's
watching
cool.
the world wake up. I'm sure you do the paddleboarding on the weekends, so
Yes.
I'm sure you get to experience that as well.
Yeah. I don't get out there. I get out there pretty early, but I haven't done it for a while because we've got so many things going on.
Yeah.
But I am it has hit me recently. I'm like, man, I really, really miss doing that. I want to do it again. Get back doing it again.
Well, as part of this study going through it, I guess about 3 years ago, it's helped me understand the importance of being outside and being intentional about it and to go figure things out. I messaged you probably a year or so ago where I was like, hey, I bought a range pass. Me and Lane and the kids are just going to go disappear in the woods. Anything that you recommend or don't recommend, I don't want to get in trouble. And I don't know the maps I'm reading or whatever. And you gave me some advice and we just disappeared for a few hours.
That's awesome.
So just
cool.
trying to be intentional about stuff like that too, because of the importance of fueling that fire inside to be able to go and explore and get back to what God has created us to do in part.
That's good.
Were the kids pumped about that initially?
Oh, they were so pumped. Yeah, it was.
They were? Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, they were all in. They were all in.
What I found is my kids when I try and do something new, initially they grumble, and then when I get them out there, they appreciate it.
That's true.
Yeah, no, this one they were all in for it. And honestly, if my truck really hasn't run the same since. We had fun.
Probably worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Did you go for a wheeling?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, we found a bunch of good spots. So
That's cool.
Didn't do too much damage.
Didn't get stuck.
No. Didn't get stuck. Got close a couple of times, but anyways, just things like that. If some of the things too, my mind has been open to is that for me, anyways, exploration is not necessarily just about getting out into what we consider the wilderness, right? Getting into the woods. I do think it's a big part of it, as we've been talking about. But for me, it was just embracing struggle or challenges and having confidence that if you're stepping into something that you feel like God is leading you to, that it's going to be okay, right? Like I don't have to have all the answers, which is tough for somebody like me with my personality. I don't have to know what it's all about going into it. And so just finding ways to challenge myself and get out of my comfort zone and create almost wilderness, so to speak, has been a big thing that I've taken away over the last couple of years and impacted a lot of decisions I've made about things that I've done in work and personal life and whatnot. So it's not just about getting literally into the woods. It's finding your own wilderness and stepping into new challenges.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, I've got a few actually. So a couple of years ago, we had an opportunity to step into purchasing a commercial real estate with a restaurant and a little pub. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'm in residential real estate, been doing that my whole entire life, but didn't really know anything about it. But I was like, you know what? I think this is a good investment opportunity, number one. This is something that I want to get involved in. And people do it. Just because I haven't done it before doesn't mean it can't be done. So that would be one, stepping into that. And that's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about structuring business and partnership and just being able to manage business as opposed to, I've got a couple rental properties, residential, but that's a different animal. So yeah, that's been really rewarding. Another one is frankly leading a men's group. Like I've led youth for a long time, but having kind of the courage to step up and lead a men's group, that was part of that too, where it was like, no, you can do this. Like you'll figure it out. In the first, I may have even shared this with you, Jim, the first 6 weeks, every single week I went, I was like, I have no idea where this is going to go. I'm not prepared for this. And you guys both know that at the beginning of a group, like it's difficult to get people really to open up. Everybody's still kind of feeling themselves out. And every single week we got done, I was like, man, that was amazing. And now, like that group, we're going to probably enter our second year, still meeting, doing something different. But
nice.
That was one of those. What else? Being the chairman of the board for the Chamber of Commerce. A big part of my decision to accept that was that I needed a challenge. I needed to explore. I needed to step into something that was pretty intimidating. The wilderness, the unknown of accepting that. But I really don't think I would have if I hadn't been introduced to the concept of we need a challenge. We need to step forward. We need to go explore. We need to figure it out.
So how much of those decisions was weighing the pros and cons before you leapt in, and how much of it was just launching into the unknown because you were up for the adventure?
That's a good question. Maybe 50-50. Like I can't not weigh the pros and cons.
It's kind of hard not to these days, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. A good portion of it was pros and cons. There wasn't really anything negative that I could think of for any of those. There's a little bit of risk involved, of course, with going into commercial real estate, a little bit of time, obviously leading a group and doing it well, putting the energy forth that really needs to be there to be a good leader. Same thing with the Chamber of Commerce. So there's some time to consider there. But in both instances, I talked with the people that may potentially be affected by that, one being family, one being work, and had full 100% support from everybody. So we knew what we were getting into. It wasn't just me doing it. It was kind of a collective effort, which was also very reassuring and kind of one of those things where God's giving you that little extra push that says, hey, man, they're with you on this. Step into it.
Yeah, it's good.
And you got that clarity?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And all of it's been huge blessings. So
And I think it's important that for men to hear the fact that you brought your family into that process. And hey, this is something that Dad's thinking about doing. What do you guys think? And getting their opinions on it. I think that's really important too.
Yeah, I mean it's a team effort, right? I don't know that 5-10 years ago I would have necessarily done that, because like a lot of men, we probably think we're right all the time, or are.
Well, I am.
Yeah. Everybody here, Jim's always right. So
Yeah, Jim's a former pilot, so
Yeah, that's right.
current pilot. Yeah, so he's been conditioned.
Sarah's going to just retroactively smack me
yeah,
when she hears this.
I
you know.
actually set him up so he gets hit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I did it to myself, so
Yeah, that's right.
I deserve it. Sweetheart,
good
I'm
news
not
is-
always right.
The good news is that means she made it this far into the podcast, though,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
That's because I'm the one that doesn't listen. She listens great.
Yeah.
she's been trained.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's her profession.
There you go.
But yeah, no, we have to do that. And the good thing about that too, though, is when there's transparency and you go to your family or you go to your team at work, your employees or whatnot, and they get to see your heart, they get to see where you feel like God is leading you and where God is working in your life. I just think that it's valuable. Like they can see it's real. This is not just, hey, I'm gonna kind of off on a whim go do this or whatever. It's not selfish. It's truly because you feel like you're living into something that God's calling you to do.
That's good.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, we've had a lot of conversations, you and I, about some of this stuff as we were in group together for over 2 years, right? I think
Yeah.
we've done,
Yeah, I think so.
actually done it 3 times. What I find cool is the things that you think you're weak at, nobody else would say that about you. And so the fact that you are not confident to lead a men's group, it blew my mind. And so the connection I want to make is God knows you can do everything that he tasks you to do too.
Mm-hmm, that's good.
Right? So if me, your friend, thinks that about you, just think what your Heavenly Father thinks about you.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that should give you the confidence to launch when he tells you to launch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And honestly, some of that confidence that you shared with me helped, right? Helps me even to consider, okay, is this something that I can do? And should I be? It's really, honestly, what I started realizing is that I'm slowly becoming one of the older guys, if not the older guy in a lot of circles that I'm in. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
my time is up. I can't be sitting here as a consumer, like whether I think so or not. I clearly have a lot of life experience, a lot of work experience, a lot of growth in my faith journey, parenting, marriage, you name it, right? And it's like God's calling me to step into that and understand that and to be able to share that with people.
Yeah, and help other people grow.
Yeah, 100%. Just as much as they have helped me grow over the years and as they're going to continue to help me to grow.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you actually have more influence when you get that opportunity too, because your kingdom's only so big. We talked about this, the different stages of manhood. There's the king stage where you have authority over something, over your area of responsibility, and eventually you'll transition to the sage, the graybeard stage, and you actually have more influence in that stage because you can influence multiple kingdoms.
That's good.
I like that concept. So as you're transitioning through phases of your life, we shouldn't feel upset about losing our kingdoms and going into that next stage because we actually have more influence than we did before.
Yeah, need to embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It probably takes a lot less energy to influence that many people at that point too,
Good.
which is definitely good. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So you mentioned something else, Steve. You were talking about how for you being an explorer isn't just being in nature. It's about the unknown and taking chances. And so have you noticed anything like that in your relationship with your wife? Because you talked about business. How about with Leanne?
About taking chances?
Yeah.
I roll the dice every day trying to figure out what. We have kind of a running joke between Leanne and I. She wants me to just make decisions, but I constantly make the wrong decision. And I'm like, I just need you to tell me. And she's like,
right.
I know, but I just need you to know and make the right decision. I'm like, we are 24 years into this. It's not working.
I have
don't know what I'm
decided,
doing.
honey, to do what I'm told.
Yeah, right. I've decided to do what I'm told. That's going in the back of the. That's going back here, pulling out later. What was the question again?
Well, so go ahead.
No,
Do you want to
you got it.
expand? Well, I was just saying. You mentioned that the being an explorer is more than just going into the wild, and you mentioned some examples in your business or in your ministry. And I'm just curious if you had any examples in your relationship with your spouse or even your kids where that.
Yeah, absolutely.
occurred.
So I think more. I don't have specifics. I think understanding that there is more to explore and learn about how they're made up, like why, not necessarily why God has made them the way that he's made them, but that he has made them in a certain way with certain passions, the certain ways of processing emotion, processing information, and just understanding that there's people are going to handle things differently based on, in large part, how God has them wired. And so I guess I've been exploring that more. Why does Leanne respond in a way that she responds to this or that or whatnot? And kind of just understanding that that's how she's been made. And trying to figure out the right words to say to get the point across, but basically like maybe things that used to frustrate me for whatever reason now like I adore because she can't be this without that. So if I've used this example with her before and we talk and laugh about it, she's always going to misplace her keys. That's just the way it is. We're going to be looking for keys, but if she was the person that always knew where her keys were, she wouldn't be the person that's ready to drop and go do anything at a moment's notice. She wouldn't be the fun-loving person that's up for an adventure at all times, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just not the same person. And so something that used to make us a couple minutes late and would bother me, now I love and adore. And I think that's a result of me realizing that there's more to it than why can't you keep your keys in the drawer? You know what I mean? Like exploring as to why she is how God's made her to be and loving that God has made her that way. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's so important. I think that's the example God gave us about how he loves us, right? If you can compartmentalize that and understand, man, it makes the relationship so much sweeter.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When I kind of came to terms, not that sounds bad, but when I just realized like God has wired her this way for a reason. And that's who she is, right? And you can't have one without the other. And the same thing with the kids. Like I have found that I have significantly more patience. And I think that's just a maturation process, right? I think that's everybody goes through it or whatnot, but
Or not. If
well-
you never contemplate it, you're never, I mean, honestly, you made a deliberate effort to do it.
Yeah.
You made a choice to do it. Not everybody makes the choice.
I guess that's true. Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Well, so, and then the next step of that thought process is not only do you appreciate her for who she is, but then there's an understanding that God made her that way to pair her with you.
100%. 100%. I needed that in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's really good.
Yeah. I'm definitely not going down the road of like they're a wilderness to be tamed or a challenge to
No,
overcome.
We want to keep him married.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be good.
That's really cool. I love that insight though. I don't know if enough guys are willing to, take that position.
Yeah, that's the thing for my wife and I too is the longer I'm with her, the more you, like you said, you just kind of, this is how she is, and you get more comfortable with that over time, and in a lot of ways, like I do, I don't know how it's possible, but I do grow closer to her over time, and you know what I mean, and she's so important, and I understand where she's doing. I understand where she's coming from, and I don't know. I don't know if it's possible, but somehow I grow closer to her over time.
Well, I think a lot of people would look at this as learning how to tolerate something almost, right?
Yeah, that's right.
As opposed to truly learning to love
And
those
enjoy.
aspects and enjoy and embrace and
Appreciate.
appreciate 100%. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I want to make sure that comes across. Like, this isn't, I just have learned to tolerate it, but I don't really like
No,
it. No,
that's-
it's not that at all.
Agreed. That's not what I'm thinking at all. It's just it's like you said, you embrace those things more over time.
Well, and the reality is my wife would have to tolerate a lot more than I do.
100%. Yes,
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm glad she appreciates me.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and so you mentioned you did a retreat with her too. How sweet was that time to put everything down and...
Yeah, we've always been real good about figuring out ways to just get away, the two of us. And fortunately, some of that has been because my work will send us on a trip every single year. And so we get to go to someplace cool. But our best trips have always been when it's not just sitting around the pool for 3 days or whatever, like when we intentionally get up and get out and go mountain biking or go hiking or just find time to get away, the two of us. Even now when we go on walks, like we purposely will not go for a walk down the street if we can help it. We go find trails someplace or something like that, just to get away, to get into wilderness as much as we can in the time limit that we have, but just to find that quiet, find that peace, find that rest.
Cool.
I just want to point out that I do have something over both of you when it comes to marriage.
Oh,
Oh, yeah?
I married the ambassador of fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we named her.
The official title.
It's her official title.
Okay.
So when we go on vacations, you have to like slow her down because if you don't, there's just not enough time. But see, we call her the ambassador of fun, and now my oldest one, Grace, has now embraced the title of ambassador of fun. Now I got 2 of them.
She stole it?
Yeah, she stole it.
Or
man.
they're co?
They're co, and it's more than Jalen and I can take.
Yeah.
We're going to survive, though. We'll be all right.
We have a cruise director in our family. Maybe we should get them together.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Or a bad idea, depending how you look at
Well,
it.
it's not my wife. It's my oldest daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She's got too much energy for everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is she the planner?
She's the spontaneous planner.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the checklist guy that plans everything out. But when we get there, she explodes all of the plans and makes it fun.
Okay.
But it's like there's no rest when you're around my oldest daughter, Maddie, because we have to go on to the next event. Hence the cruise director.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think
That's awesome.
I think there's a good balance.
Of course.
Got to have that spontaneity, but you also can't be too structured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The introvert in Mike wants to just sit around and stare at the sky. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to go back to your comment about embracing being the old guy.
Oh, okay.
So I call it the gray beard.
Yeah, I'm there.
How's that gone, man?
I saw a picture of myself from 5 years ago, and my beard was not gray.
Yeah.
And now it is like almost 100%. I'm like, what in the world has happened over the
I
last
know
5
the
years?
feeling.
Yeah. Well, we did interview Gandalf the Gray last week when
That
we
is true.
talked to Justin Lemire. He said Santa Claus. I'm giving him more credit. I said he looked like a Viking, but yeah. But I mean, the whole concept of being the old guy in the group. How has that transition gone for you? And
It's been good. It's been difficult because I've never been one. You get outside, like I never want to profess that I know something better than anybody else does, and it's hard for me to think like I have wisdom to be able to share with people. But the reality is, like I look back at stuff and I'm like, I've got 4 amazing children. I have a really strong marriage. I have a thriving business. We ministry of the church, and I realize there's something there to share, and whether I just need to basically get over myself, and if just make myself available for people to be able to just to be able to share with, I guess. And I find a lot of joy in that too. When people ask me you guys probably like when people ask you your opinion, right? You get to share what you think. So I find a lot of joy and a lot of value in that, but I find it's been a lot harder than I anticipated taking that step. But I've trusted, no, God has told me, hey, you're at this stage now. I've brought you here, and it's time for you to start doing some of these things. So it was challenging, but I also have the confidence that I'm doing what He's asked me to do. And if I start to feel that I'm not, then I'll shut up and I'll go sit down.
well, you don't claim to be an expert at everything.
No.
But it's okay to share about the things you are good at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I also can feel very comfortable sharing my life experiences and what's worked for me, what didn't work for me, what were struggles we had. And I'm pretty much an open book. And so I'm very much willing to be able to talk with people through anything that they're dealing with or give them my perspective or my experiences. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if that's just a Steve thing or if that's a guy's thing in general where I don't think that I know anything better than anybody else does. So it's just been really hard for me to kind of open up and accept that role, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 I mean, as a young man, we hesitate to say, I don't know, right? You got that bravado. And so you don't want people to know that you don't know something. After you've experienced what it's like a few times to say it and realize that it's not very painful.
Right.
It gets a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, it makes you human, right?
Yeah, it's true.
That's the one thing that is really cool about these groups. And that I've learned is that men in general kind of struggle with the same few things across the board. It may look a little bit different from one to the next, but it's that, right? It's that I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to not know where I'm going. I don't want to not have it figured out. And I've shared the story with you guys about my father-in-law building a 46 Ford from scratch, essentially, and talking to me about the flux capacitor. But it might as well have been for me, right? But I didn't have, this is 20-something years ago, but I had to act like I knew what he was talking about. I'm his son-in-law, and I missed out a beautiful opportunity to get to learn from him as he rebuilt this car because I kind of knew what he was talking about, but I really didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
You know? And I think about those kind of things, how much got missed because we just got to know it all.
I think that's the crucible of life too, right? You gotta figure that out over time. And maybe that's the cool part about the transition from becoming the graybeard is you've messed it up enough times that you realize it didn't really hurt.
Right.
To have to do it.
Right. Yep.
And I think what I've found too, most times when you look around and you're like, okay, I might be the only one that doesn't know the answer to this. When you raise your hand and go, I have no idea what you're talking about. Somebody fill me in. There's like 10 other dudes that'll pull you aside and be like, I'm glad you said something. I didn't know either.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do that like all the time. I don't know what's going on ever,
Yeah.
Jim.
We know.
That's why
You put on a good front.
That's why I have you guys.
Exactly.
That's right. But that's one thing that I have gotten a lot more comfortable with, though. Speaking of that, is just being willing to say, can you repeat that? I don't really have any idea what you're talking about in any kind of setting. Like I have definitely gotten over I need to know, I need to act like I know. Like, no, I don't want to miss on opportunities anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is too. When you pretend like you know what's going on, and something is happening, and it's a great way to say it. It's a missed opportunity. Like, yeah, I got it. No, you don't, and you miss that opportunity of actually knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the exploration too, right? Like if you
for
just
sure.
act like you know, then you've missed the chance to go down that path and explore whatever that is.
Yep.
It takes just one time being brave, going, fessing up.
It's not that big of a deal.
To be a habit that you can accept. So,
well, and it makes you real too, which makes people, makes you more relatable to people as well. And so I think when we act like we've got it figured out or whatever, then that puts up a wall. And when you put up walls, that doesn't help other people grow in whatever it is, ourselves included, obviously.
Yeah, that's good.
I like when guys say, no, I can't lead a group because I'm not ready. I'm like, well, the best way to get ready is to have to teach it.
Could you imagine if we all waited till we were ready to have kids? We'd never have any kids.
Oh gosh, no.
Civilization would come to an end.
Yeah, you can't have enough money. That's one thing I noticed.
No.
And emotionally, definitely never prepared. So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's good.
Right on.
What do you think? So I don't know. I'm trying to think the thing to get back again, just to kind of put this all together, is that exploring then is not just about being outdoors, and that is part of it. But as Steve is saying, being an explorer is just trying new things and trying to find out, how certain things work and taking risks, taking calculated risks and thinking them through and meeting with other men that understand it, and meeting with other, meeting with your family, having a conversation about what that looks like. But we can't get anywhere if we're not taking those risks and trying to step out. And being outside is a great way to learn that. But but we also have to bring that back and then realize that I can explore in my business, in my marriage, with my family, all these different things.
Yeah, 100%. But I do think a lot of that, you gain clarity on that by getting outside.
Yes,
by getting
that's
alone,
exactly right.
By getting away from connectivity and just finding an opportunity to be able to listen and let your mind clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the word to use the word allow, but I'm going to use it here. It's almost like you allow God an opportunity to show up because you put whatever barriers you have built around you.
Well, you make space for him.
No, but that's true. That is so true, man. Because we have to allow him in.
Yeah.
And one of the things that drives me crazy is when in church we hear, Holy Spirit, we just ask you to come. No, man. He's been here the whole time. What we need to do is allow him in. To when I say allow him in, to allow ourselves to hear him and to be connected to him. And one of the things I will say also is that my daughters are asking me about this quite a bit right now. They're like, Dad, how come I just don't hear God's voice? And I said, well, you probably do. It's just something that you have to practice at and you got to keep working at. So again, going back to the strength conditioning thing, I can't squat this amount of weight. Okay. Well, if it's attainable, that whatever your goal is for that weight, then what you do is you get in and you train every day. So then that means that if I want to hear God's voice, then I have to learn how to do that. I have to try. I have to, what are people saying? What are writers saying about hearing God's voice, and how does that look? And then trying every day to express that and to exercise that muscle. And that's how we get stronger over time. And so anyway, you're right. It comes back to allowing him in.
Yeah, you have to go to where he's at. You know where he's not? In my phone. So why do I spend so much time in my phone?
Yes.
He's
in the quiet.
Yeah, exactly right.
He's in the quiet.
Yeah.
And if people are scared to death of sitting quietly.
Yeah.
They're scared to death of it. And a lot of it has to come, I think, it's because you don't want to think about what's going on. Being quiet is a time where you start thinking about different things that are going on, and it can be uncomfortable.
And you probably get the answers.
And
You might not really like them.
And you may not like them. Yeah. But that's the only way that we can get better at anything, is we have to go into the uncomfortable places and try them out.
Yeah.
It's hard. I've tried to start a practice where when I drive to my office, maybe a 15-minute drive, you're not supposed to look at your phone anyways, but I really try not to look at my phone. But I also turn the radio off, and I just tried to drive in silence for that 12, 13, 14 minutes or whatever it is. And it is hard. It's really hard just to be there and be quiet and be still. And in that, I'm actively doing something, right? I'm driving, I'm paying attention, I'm seeing what's going on around me. And even then, it's extremely difficult not to pick up the phone to call somebody, or at a red light to stop and look and see, what that ding was that went off on your phone. So yeah, to your point, it's really challenging.
It is.
We've got to be intentional to do it and to practice it so that it becomes less challenging.
Okay. Ready for this one?
Yeah.
So, what did you say?
I said, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. So you talked about journaling, during that one time when you went out. Do you do that? Or, if you don't, that's fine. But do you try to make space for it during the week?
No, I'm not consistent at it at all. Now, I've recently started trying to get better about it. I did for a long time, actually. For over a year, I was part of a men's group where that was just part of the study we were doing, where we needed to journal. And so I did. But it's one of just like anything else, you get out of the habit and the practice of doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's tough to get back in and to make, but when I have, it's been extremely fruitful. But yeah, no, I'm not actively journaling right now.
So but let me ask you this though. Have you ever, so you journaled and then you got done, did you ever go, I shouldn't have done that?
Nope.
Yep. That's exactly right.
I have.
You have?
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's always fruitful for me.
Yeah, it always is for me too.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, it's such an important thing.
That's pretty crazy. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
It's like working out. You ever
It's
get
the
done working
same
out, you're
thing.
like, I shouldn't have done that.
It's the same thing. There's plenty of times I walk out to that shed and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And, and I get stressed out about it because I have goals I'm trying to hit and all those kinds of things. And there's never, ever been in 25 years a time when I walked out of the gym going, well, that was terrible. I mean, terrible as in, I've definitely said that was terrible.
Oh, I've definitely said it's terrible. Working out with you, I've said that's terrible.
But I've never walked away and said, man,
That was a waste of time.
Yeah, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. We just need to learn how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because in that process, you are growing and you can help other people by taking that time just to be quiet. So
For sure.
anyway, I'm going to quit beating on that.
No, I think that's valid. I almost every group I've been in, somebody will be like, yeah, I know what the answer is, but it's just so hard, man. And I'm like, yeah,
It is hard.
for a reason.
Yes.
It's supposed to be.
It's easy to pick up the phone at night and just, I don't know what it is you're doing on that thing, but it's easy to do that, but it's so hard to like put the work in to just, because it is, being quiet can actually be a little bit of work too.
Yeah.
But once you sit down and start doing it, it's beneficial.
Well, the answer, is it Brandon? Is he the neurologist?
Yep, Brandon Orr, cognitive
Orr.
performance specialist.
Yes, thank you. He shared at one of the first Gento meetings I ever went to in your old backyard. He said something that stuck with me ever since then. It's simple, but it's not easy. The answer is simple. It's like, just do it. Just journal. Just work out.
Yep.
You name it, whatever. Like, we know the answers, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
No, that's right. That guy is really, really good. Sometimes the things that come out of his mouth is like, okay.
He's pretty smart.
Yeah, he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll keep him around for a little bit longer.
He's got small hands, though.
He does have small hands.
Yeah. He'll tell you.
Yeah, he'll tell. He has a special way of telling us.
Oh, jeez.
That's a whole nother story.
Love you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please don't hurt me, because he can.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Man. All right. So let's wrap this up, boys.
Okay.
All right. Let's do this. Where's your spot? We talked about getting out and being outside and God shows up. Do you have a spot?
Yeah, I've got a couple spots. They're both in my backyard. It's very tranquil and peaceful back there. You guys have both been back there. So, early in the morning and just on my back porch in one or two different places, just sit quiet, watch the world wake up. On occasion, if we've got a boat for the weekend or whatnot and Leanne's, able to, then we'll get out on the water and have a cup of coffee and kind of do the same thing. But yeah, just on the back porch in the morning as the world wakes up.
Nice. Michael?
I'm going to go ahead and say my back porch and then also the shed are my two places. And by the way, Bayshore. I love that street, man. So when I go out and run and ruck, I was actually out rucking today on there, and I love being out there.
That's because you're crazy.
I am. Yeah, maybe.
In a good way, though. Yeah.
Good crazy.
Yeah.
I've actually got a few. I sit on my porch, too, and lately there's this bush just outside my screen door that the hummingbirds love.
Oh, it's so cool.
And we did hang a hummingbird feeder. It's really funny that they prefer the flowers on the bush to the feeder. But it's amazing how many times they show up and they're just beautiful. And I know it's like in my prayer time and God's saying, hey, check this out.
Yes, guaranteed.
Yeah. I love Turkey Creek. I love paddleboarding on Turkey Creek. I love walking on Turkey Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's people out there sometimes, the times I go, not so much. And ironically, out by White Point, there's a really neat spot. For those that don't live here in Niceville, it's on the bay, and it's just a sandy beach. But there's a bridge that goes across to Destin, and I like going when the sun's coming up there because I can watch this beautiful sunrise over the bridge, and you just see the traffic of people rushing off to work. Mm-hmm. And it's this clear message, like, you could be rushing off to work, but instead you're here spending time with me.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that a bridge with cars on it would be part of that beautiful picture, but it is.
Yeah, it's a reminder.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's good.
So there's 3 guys with 3 different ideas, gentlemen.
Yep.
Find your spot, I guess, would be my farewell message for today.
Push yourself against the elements and be quiet.
Yep.
That's how it's done.
Yeah. All right, Steve, your chance. Last thoughts. Anything else you want to share with the group?
I would say I really appreciate the 2 of you guys in this ministry that that you've started and that you've come along to help progress. It has impact. It really does. I look at a lot of the things that I've learned and that I've instituted into my own life. Kind of these things we're talking about with the Explorer today. The wisdom that I've been able to gain from the men in the group, and that's led to a lot of clarity that God has given me in those quiet times. I won't go into detail, but one of the infills when we had our time, I just started writing, and 5 pages later, I had said the same thing about 4 times, and I was like, I got you. I hear you, God. I hear exactly where.
Nice.
And so I don't know. It just I just want to encourage you guys. What you're doing is really good stuff. You're doing the Lord's work. He is using you, and I know that there's incredible things to come. And men are being impacted, lives are being changed, families are being changed and transformed. And so, yeah, I just want to close with that. I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Well, that's not us. That's Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
I appreciate that.
Well, you're
for
the hands and feet,
confidence,
right? Somebody's got to do the work.
We're just listening.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Feeding lambs,
Yep.
not saving them.
Nope. That's right. Just feeding them.
Oh, man. Awesome work today, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was fun.
You bet. All right. So stay tuned, y'all. We'll come back with another archetype next week and keep this train rolling.
That's it, man.
So love y'all. And thanks for tuning in. Mike, it's time to say goodbye.
See you.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, welcome back to the next episode of Tribe Talk. This is my favorite part where I mess up and then I cut it and put it at the back.
That's right.
Let's try that again.